All right, golfers, welcome to the channel. My name's Danny Malcolm. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. Today I'm going to be talking about how to create shaft lean in the golf swing. It's a hot topic. A lot of people are looking to create that nice bit of shaft lean, that nice compression. I'll also speak about what is compression today, and also, is shaft lean right for you? So today's topic has come about as this week I've had a few sessions with clients in person here in the studio, with people looking to create some shaft lean in the swing, in the impact, but not doing it the right way. They've sort of got this, the wrong way of going about it, let's say. So I think it's an important topic, and with any information that you see on YouTube, it's just trying to take it for what it is and make sure that the concepts are correct, what you're trying to do is correct. And so today I'm going to be sharing what the pros do to get into that shaft lean and that nice compressed impact position. What is compression? Again, we'll go through that, but I just don't want players to be going about it the wrong way. So let's get into it. What is shaft lean, first of all? What is it? Well, essentially that is an impact with an iron. That's you getting the shaft leaning forward, shaft lean, right? So getting the shaft leaning forward is going to effectively reduce the dynamic loft of the club. So I've got an 8 iron here. The loft of that might be, let's say, 34 degrees. If I'm going to add in shaft lean of 4 degrees, my loft's now essentially 30 degrees at impact, and that would be the dynamic loft. We'll talk about this on TrackMan. We've got that today, so we can utilize that to understand more about how to create shaft lean, what that does to the loft, what it does to the spin loft, etc. But essentially that is shaft lean. And why are we looking to get that? Well, generally that helps us launch the ball on a more penetrating trajectory. So by having that shaft leaning forward at impact, it's going to help you launch the ball more penetrating. You're going to effectively reduce the dynamic loft. The ball's going to go further, all that good stuff. It's also going to help with impact for the most part. So a lot of players, if they're not creating shaft lean and they're coming into the impact with the shaft leaning backwards, for example, there's a high chance that it might catch it on a lower part of the face, on the lower grooves. You're not going to get that correct contact. So to get it on a high part of the face on the 4th or 5th groove, you can imagine now if we can create some of that shaft lean, we're going to get that improved impact position as well as a better distance, better ball speed, better everything, right? So let's talk about what the everyday golfer, or some golfers, I won't generalize, but some golfers, how they're trying to create shaft lean. What I've seen a little bit of late is players coming in, and to get into that impact position that all the best players in the world are sort of getting into, is they're generally from the top of the swing. I see a lot of players trying to just shove their hands forward, just get the hands going forward, get the hands ahead of the ball. I've got to get my hands ahead of the ball to create some shaft lean. Looking on video when they're filming themselves, it's, I've got to get those hands in front. I've got to get those hands in front. Well, there, yes, that might look like it impacts my hands are in front from the camera, but that's not where the pros are at impact. That's because if I was to just stand up and look at you here, my hands are well ahead of me here. They're almost off my left thigh, but that's not actually where they get to. Where they get to is here. Now, if I was just to stand up and show you that, my hands are actually further back. So I'll explain this in more detail, but the impact positions where they're getting to there is not from them shoving their hands forward. It's from the club being in a good position and the rotation allowing that to look as though my hands are now opposite my left thigh. But in actual fact, if we was to film from here, it's actually back here. So let's talk about it in a little bit more detail. So what generally happens is from the top of the swing here, and let's just say, to get into that good impact position, there's some things that need to be happening before that to incentivize that, for one. What you see a lot of is in the backswing, it might be out of position here in the backswing, the club face might be open, for example, at the top, and a player might get a little bit steep. They might throw their hands out in an effort to get the hands ahead of the ball, so the hands start to throw out, club gets steep, and in actual fact, oftentimes when the club's getting steep or tipped out here, or over the top, whatever term you like to give that, is to start the ball somewhat online, a player is going to have to actually do the opposite of shaft lean. So from this view, they'll actually generally have to square the face up somewhat, getting this more scooped or casted position, which leads to what we said earlier, not a lot of shaft lean, strikes low on the face, hitting the ground before, not what we're looking for. So let's just understand that to create, or to give us a better chance of creating that solid impact position, we need to be doing some different things in the backswing and in transition to get the club in place to facilitate that or to incentivize that. So what would we be looking for? Well, from the top of the swing, first we want to check that our club face is in a good position. It's not open. Let's check it's fairly neutral to even slightly stronger. For most players, could benefit from that. Again, not to generalize, but that's kind of the first checkpoint we'd like to see. Hands not too high, in a good spot here. Let's just say you've got a pretty good backswing. But in the downswing, what we want to be looking for now, I've said this in previous videos, how the hands and arms work in the downswing. But let's just say if you was just to rotate from there with the upper body and leave the hands up, again, that's going to get the club steep. So from there, we're going to have to react, get in a scooped or casted position, no shaft lean. So the key is to get some shallowing in earlier. So I'm going to exaggerate this, but if I get to the top here, keep my body where it is facing towards the target. And from here, I'm just going to lower my arms, just lower them. So I'm not trying to pull or anything like this. I'm just lowering my arms. Just letting my arms lower here. Now, if you look from this view, that's going to be shallowing the club. It's one way to shallow the club. But there's got to be a blend of, as I've said in a previous video, check that out, is how to use the arms and the hands in a downswing. But it's a blend of that. There's a blend of lowering the arms and the hands as we rotate. But some players oftentimes are rotating hard, not leaving the hands up there, club gets steep, and then they're trying to create shaft lean from there, which is not going to happen effectively. If you do, and you start to put your hands forward, the club face is going to be way open, you're going to present, yeah, it's not going to be functional. So again, from the top, there's got to be the exaggeration of the arms lowering here. Now, if I do nothing with my body, look where my hands are from front on, they're actually at the right thigh there. Now, when the club's in this sort of position, it's the rotation of the pivot of the body that gets us into this wonderful impact position. So from there, arms lowering. Now watch this. If I just pivot, now look where I am at impact. So I'm not in front of my elbow's not in front of my right hip, it's to the side of it. But from this 2D, from this camera, it looks as though I've got that shaft lean. But if I was to stand back here with that, there we are. And from this view, lowering the arms, add in the rotation, bang, there we are. So the club face has had to be in a good position. The club's had to be in a nice shallow position or on plane in transition in the downswing, coming into delivery. If you've got those in place, then to finish it off, bang, here we are. So there. And obviously that all happens in more of a fluid athletic motion, but that's a little breakdown to show you what's actually happening. And this would actually be the more fluid motion. It'll be here, the blend of all two of those to get you into that position. So hopefully that gives you an idea. That's kind of what the best players in the world are doing, and what some of the everyday golfers tend to do to try and create the shaft lean. So let's just get that out of the way there and say that's how we prefer to create the shaft lean. Now, what can then that shaft lean and compression? Let's talk about compression. What is compression? Why do we want it? So again, this term can often get misinterpreted, but essentially all it is the difference between the attack angle and your dynamic loft. So we call that spin loft. We'll hit some shots in a moment. I'll show you the difference here on TrackMan. But let's just say I was hitting that way. Blue is the attack angle, so that would be the ground. Let's just say I'm hitting down 4 degrees with I've got an 8 iron here today. Let's say the loft that I present, just for ease of numbers here, is 30 degrees. Let's say I present 30 degrees loft. I'm hitting down 4 degrees. The difference between that is 34 degrees. So that would be your spin loft. That's the compression. That's the difference between the attack angle and dynamic loft. So for players that are not presenting enough shaft lean, this dynamic loft will be higher. The attack angle might be the same, but the dynamic loft will be higher. that spin loft, that increased spin loft is effectively meaning the ball speed is going to be slower, the smash factor, the efficiency of how the ball's coming off the face is not going to be as much energy transferred into the ball, and so it's not going to go as far. A player that presents less dynamic loft with the same club, more shaft lean, that spin loft is reduced, therefore the ball's going to come off harder, the ball's going to go further, and so that's why people generally like to feel like they're getting the compression. They want to get compression effectively. They're just wanting to de-loft the club, reduce the dynamic loft to hit the ball further. So that's what we're talking about here. Okay, super important to just understand that. And so let's get hitting some shots, and we'll just show some examples. And so first I'm going to hit a shot with my 8-iron and present the club with less shaft lean, almost as though play would be more in this sort of steep to then scoop or casted position. And let's just keep an eye on some of the numbers. So there, dynamic loft presented of 28 degrees, spin loft 30 degrees. So I'll do another one again. Try and add a little bit of loft here. Spin loft 30 degrees again. So the difference between the attack angle and the dynamic loft was 30 degrees. And so you can see on that one as well, the dynamic loft is at 29 degrees. So let's see if we can present a little bit less loft here. There we go. So see how that's come down to 22 degrees of dynamic loft. So I've created a bit more shaft lean there. I've reduced my 8-iron to now, that's almost 2 clubs. That's almost 2 clubs difference. So if I was swinging at full speed, I'm not at the moment because I've got a bit of a hip injury, which I'll do another video on soon. But yeah, you can certainly see there how, I'll try it again. You should be able to see here again, 20 degrees. I'm exaggerating quite a bit there. That's obviously way too low for an 8-iron. But you can see how that's reduced the spin loft, the dynamic loft's come down. And that's from getting the club shallower, stronger face to then incentivize that pivot to actually have the shaft lean. So I hope that's sort of making sense there, guys, that the shaft lean is going to affect your dynamic loft, it's going to affect the spin loft, it's going to affect strike, it's going to affect distance. So it's important just to understand how to get there, what effect that's going to have, and is that right for you? Is getting more shaft lean right for you? Because you've got to look at each player individually. Players that swing at higher club speeds, I'm normally pretty quick, but obviously with the injury at the moment, I'm just easing off. My 7-iron would normally be 90 miles an hour. Those sort of club speeds, you'd be looking to create more shaft lean because we're going to spin the ball more at high speeds. So we need a little bit more shaft lean to take a bit of spin off it. Somebody who is maybe more of a slower swing speed player, maybe a senior golfer, or somebody who is just swinging a little bit slower, won't need that amount of shaft lean because those players might need to get the ball airborne more. So having that dynamic loft too low is not going to help in that. So as I said before, a higher speed player will be hitting down generally a little bit more. Dynamic loft will be a little bit less because they'll create more shaft lean. A slow swing speed player might not hit down quite as much, and they would like to present a little bit more dynamic loft. So the launch of their ball would be a little bit higher. The launch of the balls normally just sits a little bit below the dynamic loft. But again, it's just understanding where you are as a player as to how much shaft lean you would want to be getting. Do you have some players have too much. It's just trying to find that optimal window for you. So that's where I'd recommend going to see a professional who's got some technology that they can use to support you in optimizing your swing and the changes necessary to get you the correct ball flight. So I hope that makes sense there, guys. Again, I just wanted to point that out because I've seen that a little bit this week in my coaching of players just trying to shove the hands in front. But again, if you start to do that not in the correct way and just shoving your hands in front here, you're going to have the face open. You're going to hit it right, you're going to do some different things. So I think it's just important to understand how you get to shaft lean, what needs to happen before to help incentivize that, what it actually looks like. So it's more of this position rather than being there. So yeah, I thought that was an important one just to mention tonight. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully it makes sense. Again, with any information you see on YouTube, just take it as it is. And you know, as a coach, you want to give good information, but you don't want to make players worse. So you just want to hopefully show them what the good players are doing, ideas of how to get there. But I would always recommend seeing a professional that can help tailor the things for you that you need to do to improve your game. So that being said, I do also offer online coaching to clients all around the world. So please click the link above there if you're interested in having personalised coaching from myself. But otherwise, go and see your local PGA professional. They'll be able to help as well. Yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope that helps. Interesting topic. See you on the next video.